What Common Core does is strip the individual of everything that makes them unique. That is authoritarianism.
The Blaze founder Glenn Beck making the case against Common Core. Beck's new book, Conform, Exposing the Truth About Common Core in Public Education, is a call to action against the changing education system in the United States. Pat Gray is a radio and television host with The Blaze, joins us now from Dallas. And Pat, I know you're not listed as one of the writers on this book, but I know that you've been doing a lot of research. You've been bringing it up on The Blaze, on the radio program, talking about it. You know, our audience is up here in Canada. My warning is I'm already seeing elements of this in the homework my kids bring home. Why should we be worried about the changes that are in Common Core?
Well, because this is, as you said, Brian, a disease that's spreading. It's not just an American problem. This will definitely spread across the border, maybe across the oceans. This is an effort to, I think, dumb down our children. It's an effort to make the kids as different from the parents as possible, because in, for instance, the case of Common Core math, none of it is the same as any of us grew up with. None of it is comprehensible to us. They're solving simple equations that take normally 2 steps in 10. So we've always felt that this is the Woodrow Wilson goal, and we can't go through a Blaze interview without bringing up Woodrow Wilson, Glenn's favorite president. He once said that the effort, the goal of education should be to make the parents as different from their fathers as possible, because then that strips them from the foundation of everything they learned, everything they grew up with, their traditions, their culture, and it allows the progressive movement to change society through education.
Well, let me be devil's advocate here. Some people will say, well, is it really progressive? Jeb Bush is promoting Common Core in the United States. He's a Republican.
Yes, and there are progressives in the Republican Party. Jeb Bush among them. I mean, Jeb Bush he's not a real conservative guy. He's a big government Republican in America, and Jeb Bush is part of the problem. Mike Huckabee, a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives are being fooled by this because, as you mentioned, Jeb Bush, and then there's Mike Huckabee, who's a Christian and claims to be a conservative. He isn't. He's been on the Common Core bandwagon, and he tricked a lot of people by saying that they have given in to changing Common Core. But what he is suggesting is that you change the name and continue with the program.
There's a lot of big companies involved in this, so I'm surprised the left isn't more outraged. I know that there are a lot of liberal critics of Common Core, but you've got Microsoft heavily involved. You've got Pearson heavily involved. That's part of how I think it'll come across the border. Pearson's a major book company, textbook publisher in this country. So why aren't they jumping up and down at how involved private sector companies are in designing a curriculum?
It's a great question, and I think the answer is because they're the right kind of big companies involved. You know, it's Bill Gates. What's wrong with Bill Gates to a big government conservative? Nothing. And Bill Gates has invested, reportedly now, he admitted to his foundation spending $2.3 billion on this program now. $2.3 billion. I mean, that is astonishing. And so he's got a real vested interest in this thing. And is it just because he wants Microsoft employees to be well educated when they come up in the ranks? I don't think so. A big part of the Common Core curriculum, and as it spreads, it will continue into Canada and beyond. A big part of this is data mining. They're going to be mining data from our children in school. And personally, I don't want my kids being guinea pigs. I don't know a lot of parents who do. They'll mine them for data, which they will then use to sell the products and services that Microsoft sells to them. So it's a huge part of Microsoft's agenda in the future to sell Microsoft products.
Unreal. You mentioned earlier Woodrow Wilson and his comment about education's goal being to make the kid most unlike the parents. You open the book with a similar quote, Horace Mann. Men are cast iron, but children are wax. this has been a goal of the public school movement to a degree from the beginning. So what's the big change in moving from a progressive system that was always looking to impart progressive values to Common Core?
Well, it's just more of it. It's coming from a centralized government now. It's coming from a centralized place. And the Common Core supporters will say, oh, no, this was done by governors. There's nothing better than, well, first of all, what qualifies governors to develop a school curriculum? They didn't, by the way. It was done by about 5 people in the United States. And those 5 people then got the approval of these governors, who then went to the Obama administration to bribe the states to adopt this. So it's more of the progressive agenda. And in this particular case, so the centralized plan is spreading out to the states through the bribery of funds. If you accept it, they'll give you the stimulus bill funds to the states. And then there's just more of the indoctrination implanted in this curriculum. It's just, and not only that, but now the person who developed and essentially wrote the Common Core curriculum has now moved on to the head of the SAT program and is now developing the SATs to also fit the Common Core, so that you can't essentially get into American colleges if you haven't been through the Common Core system.
So
very insidious stuff.
Even for homeschooling families like yours, it's going to be difficult.
Yep.
All right.
Yes,
Pat Gray.
very difficult. And so thanks, Brian.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Pat, and best of luck in continuing the fight. We're going to keep watching it north of the border, and I'm going to keep ignoring my kids' math homework. Thanks so much.